Now, welcome in the head coach of St. Louis men's basketball, and that's Jim Cruz. Jim, it's Zach and Chase here in Philly. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing today?
Well, we're doing great on this Philly day. It's a little bit colder than what we would have liked it for a spring day, but we'll move on. NCAA tournament time, nothing better than that. And when I think of the NCAA tournament, one name that really does come to mind has been a former coach of yours, and that was Rick Majerus. And we know how much he meant to the game of NCAA basketball. We covered Temple here, so we got to see some good runs with him in the A-10. And what did he mean, though, to you as a man and especially to his players?
Well, first of all, Rick was a friend for a long, long time. He was an incredible friend. Anytime that he knew that either I or our family were struggling a little bit, he would reach out, and he wouldn't reach out once or twice. I mean, he would consistently be there and try to help in any way that he could. So he was really just a dear, dear friend to me. And then as a basketball coach, I think that he was an unbelievable teacher. He knew the game inside out. He could look 3 or 4 steps ahead of everything, and really was great with the players. I think that he was a teacher first, but he was a guy that he had a lot of humor with it. He could bring them to their knees, too. I mean, he had their attention. There's no doubt about it. But, I mean, he'd get off. Practice is over. Hey, practice is over, and, let's go have some pizza and have some fun.
And I also remember when he passed away, Keith Van Horn, one of his former players at Utah, actually came out, and there was an article about him with ESPN, and he talked about how the practices were so tough, but he learned so much. And he also mentioned when his father passed away, Keith Van Horn, Rick was the first one to inform him of that at 2 a.m., and you could really just tell that he cares about his players. But now you're carrying on his legacy with some of his old players at St. Louis, and you guys have done a remarkable job getting back to the tourney 2 years in a row. You have to be happy with the way your players are playing.
Oh, they were unbelievable. They were tremendous. They really welcomed us with open arms. I think in a tragic situation, we did have one thing. There was a silver lining in terms of the transition, is because everyone, he'd been my friend for 30-some years. The other guys on staff, they've been going to his camps, and he was 7 years old, another assistant. And so it wasn't just the players going through the emotional time. It was also the coaches. So we're all in the same boat, as you would say. And but our guys, we kept Rick's system, and those guys knew it, and that ended up being great, because I told them right from the first day they knew the system better than I. I'll be a quick learn on it, but you guys got to continue helping me with it, and they did. I mean, it could be in games, it could be in practice, and that's a fun thing in coaching, is if you can have teams that know and understand how all the pieces of the puzzle work, and we had plenty of those guys, and so that was a real joy.
The head coach of the St. Louis Billikens, Jim Cruz, joins us on the hotline, Philly's #1 college radio station, WHIP. Coach is Chase Sr. Obviously, Rick's health was not at a great spot for a long, long time. And when he did pass away, it kind of took the university. It hit the university hard. Was it hard at all for you to step in his shoes and kind of take off where he left and take over the team right from the get-go?
Well, I don't think, he passed the baton, but, he ran the race differently than I run the race, my part of the race, just because we're different personalities. And so the last thing I wanted to be is try to, take his place. All I'm doing is try to pass on some of his lessons and encourage the kids and empower the kids and educate the kids. And so, I just think it's one of those life lessons, and obviously our young guys, they all lost a coach. The older guys lost a friend, and then some of them lost a father figure. And so that all takes time. I just stepped in. So, I mean, relationships, the journey is about relationships. It's not about, in my opinion, anything else. I mean, the wins are great, the championships are great, but it's about the relationships. And so Rick really set a great foundation for that, and those seniors really had an amazing run the last couple of years.
You had the luxury of spending some time under legendary head coach Bob Knight. Did Coach Knight at all help shape you into the coach and the man that you are today?
Well, I think from a coaching standpoint, Coach, he was great. I mean, I learned so much. First of all, I learned time management. I don't think there's anybody better in the world that I've ever been around that is better with time management. And, I mean, he's got a steel vault clock or something in his brain. And it's amazing how he can get things done in 7 minutes, 15 minutes, 2 hours, and his concentrations with those, and he just moves on. It doesn't mean just all work either. I mean, it can be from helping a charity out to a practice plan to helping the negotiation to playing golf to fishing, and I mean he gets a lot done in a day. Then the second thing is watching tape. Setting up a program, number one, is how he set up his program. I really have enjoyed because he was not a micromanager. He gave his assistants a lot of freedom to do their craft and put their ideas into it and work it. And then the third thing is watching film, just studying film and how to watch film.
Coach, you guys lost to Louisville in the NCAA Tournament, and Pitino once again has his team poised to make another deep run. Last year, they got to the championship game and won the whole thing, and you're going to get that special matchup between Kentucky and Louisville. We saw Louisville here twice up against the Owls. What's the toughest part, though, going up against Rick Pitino, and what do you think he's trying to do up against Kentucky?
Well, I don't know what he's going to do against Kentucky, but what I think his system of play does is, obviously, he's really a smart coach. He's very smart. But he has a high reward, low risk kind of system defensively. I mean, they'll press you, but they don't trap you a lot. They make it really tough to get the ball in bounds. They try to speed you up, but they're not giving any buckets down at the other end. I mean, so it's a low risk, high reward. So that's number one. Number two is he's changing defenses. So you got to work to get the ball up the floor, and you don't know what waits you. You don't know if it's a zone, which is a matchup, so he disguises it, or a man-to-man or a switching man-to-man. So offense is a rhythmic game, and Louisville does a great job of getting you out of rhythm.
And Louisville's big man, Harrell, has been sensational through this year, and Julius Randle on the other end for Kentucky has also been having a great season, and he completely filled up that stat sheet up against Wichita State. He did it on all ends of the floor. Looks like we have a good battle of the bigs, though, coming up this weekend.
Yeah, I think, Pitino's system, too, sometimes when you get a little, what he does is it takes your attention away from the inside. And so Kentucky's strong inside. So they can't get blurred vision and kind of look outside the house. They got to look inside the house. Look inside with that. And they got guards that are pretty long that can look over the smaller guards of Louisville. So it'll be interesting. That'll be a great matchup.
Coach, just going back to your team real quick, how do you get a team to buy in defensively? Because a lot of these kids come from AAU programs where they're really focused on what they do on the stat sheet, especially on the offensive side of the floor. But the Billikens have really made a name for themselves as being a really tough defensive team.
Well, I think that first of all, Rick did a great job with that to start with, so the foundation was really set well with that. And then we've always had, in the 3 years I've had, older kids that are really defensive-minded in terms, I mean, they're offensive-minded too, but, I mean, they really take great pride in the defense. So when the older guys are doing it and the new guys are coming in, they get the picture real quick that, we want you to play defense. We enjoy playing defense. We take that great deal of pride in playing defense. And so it's been, I think, just because the older guys have been so attuned to it.
Georgia Jet is a really interesting prospect. He's not the tallest guy, but he's got some girth to him and width. He averaged just under 14 points per game and shot nearly 50% from the field. And he doesn't really shoot well from the outside, but he's really tough when he gets down low, especially for a guard. What makes Jordan such a difficult matchup problem?
Well, he's got three things. Physically, he is tremendously. He's very explosive. And then he weighs 225, so I mean he's like he's a fullback or something with great speed. And then Jordan has tremendous wisdom of the game. He is very, very, very smart. He understands where everybody is. He understands how things work. He gets it, and he's always a step or two ahead on that. So with that quickness and strength and girth, as you said. That combination with great wisdom, that's what really, and he hates to lose. So really, he hates to lose. He doesn't like to lose. So those are four really great qualities.
We're spending a few more minutes with Jim Cruz, the head coach of St. Louis. And, Coach, Dayton, you see them in the A-10 all the time. They're going up against Stanford. That's going to be a special game. Not too many people thought both of those teams would be matching up in the Sweet 16, getting ready for the Elite Eight. But what does Dayton got to do if they want to go out there and move on to the Elite Eight?
Well, I don't know much about Stanford. Dayton is a team that plays 9 or 10 guys, and I think they've really been. They had a great preseason, and they really struggled big time to start the conference play, and then they've really come on strong. And they got depth. I mean, they play 9 or 10 guys. Their system of play allows that. They're a good shooting team. They're constantly putting pressure on you from an offensive standpoint, and so they're feeling good about themselves. I don't think they have any great players. They got just a lot of good players, and I think that's really played to their benefit.
My favorite part of the tourney has been the Cinderella teams, and over the years we saw Florida Gulf Coast make a run, George Mason back with Jim Larinaga, Shaka Smart, and the VCU Rams. We saw the job Stevens did with Butler, getting them back-to-back national championship games. This year you have two 11s, a 10 and a 7, still in the Sweet 16. What does it say about the state of college basketball that any team can make a run in the NCAA tournament?
I think that's what it is right now. I think that's what makes it really exciting, and I really don't think there's much difference. I mean, there might be this team to that team, and I don't know exactly, but from 3 to 13 or 3 to 12 or 3.5 to 11.5 the seeds numbers, I don't think there's any difference. I don't think there. I mean, I think it's such a slim margin, and it's just whoever plays well that game. It's not going to be a huge talent swing or anything, and that's what I think makes the tournament even more exciting today than it has been forever. And it's been exciting forever.
Coach, now that your team has been eliminated, is there a team in the field that's left in the Sweet 16 that you think is poised to make a run at the national championship?
No, not really. I think what it is, and I told the team, I mean, before the tournament starts, everyone's going to say this team's hot, this team's kind of limping in, or whatever. And last year we were kind of on a roll, and this year we were kind of limping in. I think it's totally irrelevant. I think the momentum that you get is from the tournament, and so either you're hot or you're out. You got 16 teams that are hot right now. You got 16 confident teams. I mean, that's just all there is to it. And then, obviously, it's going to come crashing to a halt for everybody except for the national champion. But I think that's the beauty of it. I do not think they're advantage of it, and the game doesn't understand seeds, and the game doesn't understand your name on your jersey. It's whoever's going to block out the best and whoever is the ball strong with it and execute their stuff the best that particular night. And you got to get a little lucky, too. You got to play good, and you got to get a little fortunate.
One of the beauties of college basketball, especially as a head coach, is you're usually able to see your players grow in the span of 4 years, but you do lose some top-notch seniors from this year's team. How do you plan on filling the voids from some of the voids that those guys are going to leave behind?
Well, obviously, we got big voids, but that's part of it. That's what's fun, and as you said, that's watching kids grow, and, everyone says, well, you miss those. Yeah, you miss them, but you know what? That's part of life. That's their chapter of college is over, and, they can do bigger and greater things in life. That's what college is supposed to do, is prepare you for those bigger and better things. So, but we got some young kids that are on our team now. We got some young kids that are coming in, and we're excited about working with them and molding them into a team, and we're excited about it. We think they're high-character guys that like to work, and that's what's fun.
On the way out here with Jim Cruz, and I heard Gottlieb talking about in the first round of the tournament about the emotions of playing basketball in March. And Gottlieb was saying the toughest part is when you're a senior and you finally realize on the court that it's all over, and most of those guys usually end up crying. What do you say as a coach, though, when you lose a senior after the NCAA tournament?
Well, we told our seniors this year, they got the most they could possibly get out of a college experience. I mean, we got 5 guys that are one of them's already graduated, but 5 are graduating, and they've been great ambassadors in the community, and actually some places, a couple of the players around the world doing different things, and they were obviously outstanding and just good guys on campus. And so they had a great career, and it's disappointing when you lose. But I said that happens to everybody except for the national champion. So, put your head up high and feel good about it. And sun's going to come up, just like when you lose during the regular season. The sun's going to come up the next day, and just keep trying to do the next right thing. And we're really proud of the guys that we've had this year and what they've done with their careers. And so they've done well. So it's tough, though. When they're taking those shoes off for the last time, it's tough.
Final one here, and then we'll let you run as we're talking to Jim Cruz. We've seen a lot of teams over the years, because it's just the state of the NCAA right now, change conferences. Here in Philadelphia, Temple used to be in the A-10. Now they're in the American Athletic Conference. And you and Rick both build a consistent program at St. Louis. Is it all tough, though, as a coach when your conference keeps on changing?
Probably. I don't think about it too much. It's kind of a bizarre time in college athletics now with all these conference changes. So, I don't make the decision, so I really don't worry about it. And whoever shows up in our league shows up in our league, and it's been a darn good, unbelievably good league. So I don't worry. They're doing a good job of getting good teams. I know that.
Well, Coach, we appreciate a few minutes today. Enjoy the rest of the tournament, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Okay, guys. Have a wonderful one. Thanks.
You too. Jim Cruz right there, the head coach of the St. Louis men's basketball team. We'll take a quick break here on the main event, and we'll be back right after these short messages.